We are looking at an essay today that argues, well, basically, that every piece of life advice you have ever been given is wrong.
Yeah, literally all of it.
Right, like work hard, buy a house, get married. We are told these are the steps to a good life. But this essay argues that it's actually a meticulously designed blueprint for ruining your life.
Which is quite a hook.
It really is. So, welcome to the deep dive. Today we have a translated essay from an author named Xue.
Right, dated August 29th, 2023.
Exactly. And the translation was edited by Kinyu. And, I mean, the title alone tells you exactly what kind of ride we are in for. It's called Wrong Route Direction. The harder you strive, the worse it gets.
Just a very cheerful title to start the day.
Oh, totally. But the mission here is to unpack this radically critical view of traditional life milestones. We really want to understand why this author believes that society's standard checklist for success is actually the fastest way to accelerate your own tragedy.
Because the author is challenging the fundamental physics of how we view human exertion, you know?
Right. We are taught from childhood that effort is the ultimate equalizer.
Exactly. The equation is supposed to be super simple. If you want a better outcome, you apply more effort.
You push harder, the door opens.
Right, but Zhang proposes a terrifying alternative here. What if the map you're using is completely upside down?
Oof, an upside-down map.
Yeah. I mean, if your map is inverted, your relentless sprinting is not getting you closer to safety.
It's actually actively plunging you deeper into the wilderness.
Exactly. The effort itself is the problem.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to understand a theory this sweeping, we actually have to start with a highly specific, everyday moment.
Right. The whole thing was sparked by something very mundane.
Yeah, the entire essay was triggered by a viral video. Zheng was watching a short clip of a 39-year-old woman giving life advice to a younger demographic.
Specifically to women aged 24 to 30.
Right, and what was she saying exactly?
Well, the video captures a very specific type of cultural panic. This 39-year-old woman is speaking out of profound personal regret.
Like she missed the boat.
Exactly. She feels she missed the, quote, optimal time for marriage. And she details how agonizingly difficult it has become to find an ideal partner at her current age.
So her message to those younger women is basically a frantic warning.
Yeah, it's like, find a partner and get married while you are in that 24 to 30 window, or you will face a lifetime of remorse.
It basically is someone frantically warning you to hurry up and secure a ticket on the Titanic.
That's a great way to put it.
Because they genuinely believe they are helping you avoid missing the boat.
Yeah.
But Xue watches this video and offers a radical rebuttal.
Yeah, essentially sitting there saying, do you not see the iceberg?
Right. The author claims this 39-year-old is making a massive directional error, and that following the traditional path of marriage inevitably leads to a tragic life.
Xue actually calls it a prison.
Which is a heavy word. I mean, a prison. I actually have to push back a little here, because calling marriage an inevitably tragic prison is incredibly extreme.
Oh, it's definitely extreme.
Like, is the author just ignoring all the genuinely joyful, supportive marriages out there simply to make a philosophical point?
Well, the author is not really looking at fleeting moments of domestic joy, you know. They are focused entirely on structural inevitabilities.
Structural inevitabilities. Okay, explain that.
So, to justify this bleak view, Xue points to thousands of years of historical tragedies from all over the world.
Wow. Thousands of years.
Yeah. The argument relies on the idea that history has already proven the trajectory of marriage and family is fundamentally flawed.
So it's not about the individuals.
Right. When you make that initial choice to marry early, you are not just acquiring a partner, you are signing a contract for a compounding series of obligations.
I hear the structural argument, but it still feels like, I don't know, like the author is cherry-picking history to fit a cynical worldview.
It can definitely feel that way.
Because it strips away all human agency.
Yeah.
It's as if the moment you say, I do, you are locked into a miserable fate, regardless of how you navigate the relationship.
But see, that tension is exactly where Xue wants the reader.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The author would argue that human agency is actually an illusion once you step onto a structurally flawed path.
It is dark.
It is. It's not about whether you and your partner love each other on your wedding day. It is about the systemic weight that immediately follows.
Okay, so the directional error.
Exactly. The author views that first decision, getting married early, as the trigger for an inescapable avalanche.
And the mechanics of that avalanche are laid out relentlessly in the text.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't just get married. You start a family.
Right.
You have children. And the moment that happens, the infrastructure requirements explode.
Oh, they totally explode.
You suddenly need to acquire houses, you need cars. You're thrust into a lifelong cycle of labor just to maintain the material baseline for this unit you have created.
And the material acquisition is really just the first layer of the trap.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. Then comes the emotional and logistical labor. I mean, you have to raise those children, which introduces an incredibly complex web of relationships.
Right, because it's not just the kids.
Exactly. You are managing your spouse, your kids, and an ever-expanding network of extended relatives and friends.
Just managing all those personalities.
And the author highlights how this cycle never actually concludes.
What do you mean? Like, the kids grow up eventually, right?
Sure, you raise your kids, but instead of relief, you inherit the anxiety of their futures. You start worrying about your children's marriages.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then eventually you are tasked with taking care of grandchildren. It is a continuous generational loop of mandatory responsibility.
So what does this all mean? It feels like the author is looking at the American dream, or really just the global dream, and seeing it as an inescapable hamster wheel.
That's a very accurate reading of it.
But is the author saying the effort of living is the problem, or simply the expectations we attach to it?
Well, Shifeng is critiquing how one-directional error inevitably triggers a domino effect of lifelong societal pressures.
Just snowball effect.
Exactly. And the toll it takes is devastating. Juefeng points out the inevitable conflicts between spouses over emotions, differing viewpoints, and the sheer stress of handling those extended networks.
Right, which leads to high divorce rates and leaves people with desperate emotional scars.
Yeah, it's not just a logistical burden, it's an emotional one.
But this trap isn't just emotional either.
Yeah.
If you look at the financial engine required to sustain that inevitable tragedy of a family, it explains exactly why people get sucked into the next quagmire.
Right, because we are moving beyond just the household now.
Yeah, the author takes this personal directional error and scales it up to the broader economic world.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because we see the exact same physics of effort applied to real estate.
Mortgages.
Yes, the essay asks us to look at people currently being crushed by mortgage repayments.
Which is a lot of people right now.
Oh, totally. And the standard societal view is that these people are victims of a tough economy or maybe high interest rates.
Right, we blame the market.
But Suefeng traces the misery directly back to their own ambition.
Wait, their ambition.
Yeah. If they had not worked so incredibly hard, if they had not strived with every ounce of their energy to save for that down payment, they would never have been able to buy the house in the first place.
Oh, I see. It's like running full speed on a treadmill that's slowly tilting into a swamp.
Yes.
Your own momentum is what drowns you. The author says if they hadn't exerted themselves, they wouldn't be crushed by the pressure right now.
Exactly. And we find the identical mechanism in the business world, too.
How so?
Well, Sorfeng points to individuals who pour relentless, back-breaking effort into industry. They sacrifice their health, their time, and their peace of mind to build something.
Hustle culture, basically.
Right. But instead of achieving the success and happiness they were promised, they end up bankrupt and burdened with insurmountable debt.
That happens all the time.
It does. And the essay posits that their strenuous efforts did not fail them.
What do you mean?
Their efforts functioned perfectly to lead them directly into a quagmire. The harder they fought to keep the business afloat, the deeper the debt became.
Because they were on the wrong road to begin with.
Exactly.
Then the author brings in the example of corrupt government officials, which I find fascinating.
Oh, that's a brilliant part of the essay.
Because it completely isolates the concept of effort from morality. The essay describes officials who were driven by a zealous pursuit of corruption.
Right. They aren't lazy. They are working very hard at being corrupt.
Exactly. They cunningly maneuvered their way into power. They engineered complex schemes. They exerted immense energy to reach the top.
Only to face exposure and lose absolutely everything.
Right. So in the case of the corrupt officials, the author isn't just making a moral judgment, but a practical one.
Yeah.
Like they literally worked themselves to the bone just to engineer their own downfall.
That is exactly it. It is worse than just losing everything. The exertion itself is the poison. Sweffing is leveling the playing field here. Whether you are an everyday homeowner trying to shelter your family, an ambitious business person trying to innovate, or a corrupt politician scheming for illicit power, the rule is blind and absolute.
When the route and direction are wrong, the more effort you put in, the worse it becomes. So the corrupt official's zeal is literally what destroyed them.
Precisely.
Had they not exerted themselves so intensely, had they just been lazy or completely mediocre in their ambition, they might be enjoying a peaceful, stable life right now.
Yeah, they would just be an unknown bureaucrat somewhere. Totally fine.
The author is saying the practical application of effort is the problem, completely independent of whether the goal was noble or nefarious.
That is the core insight. We naturally want to categorize the corrupt official's downfall as a moral failing, right?
Sure.
And we categorize the bankrupt business person's downfall as a tragic stroke of bad luck.
Right, we separate them.
But Suifeng refuses to do that. They both failed for the exact same mechanical reason. They sprinted full speed down the wrong route.
And the collateral damage of this societal structure doesn't even spare the people who haven't started running yet.
Oh, you mean the youth?
Yeah. The essay touches on the psychological stress and the deep spiritual depression experienced by young people who are unable to find jobs.
The youth are in a particularly agonizing position here.
Because they did everything right.
Exactly. They have been conditioned their entire lives to apply effort. They study, they test, they prepare themselves for the labor market based on the map they were handed.
Right.
But when the system fails to absorb them, the resulting crash is not just an economic inconvenience, it is a spiritual crisis.
It is like spending 20 years training for a sport, only to show up at the stadium and find out the game was permanently canceled a decade ago.
That is a very bleak but very accurate analogy.
All that pent-up energy, all that conditioned drive to apply effort has nowhere to go, so it turns inward.
Right.
They suffer because they are ready to strive, but they are suddenly realizing the track might lead straight off a cliff.
Which naturally forces a massive pivot in the text.
Yeah, because we need some kind of answer here.
Right. If the traditional pursuits of family, property, business, and political ambition are all definitively wrong directions, what is the right one?
Right. The author has systematically dismantled the entire modern human experience. So where does Suifeng tell us to go?
Well, the essay offers a conclusion, but it requires a lot of translation because it is heavily philosophical.
Okay, let's hear it.
The author states, quote, "Heavenly life has already been born on this earth."
Heavenly life, okay.
And the fundamental mistake we are making is, quote, "following in the footsteps of predecessors instead of moving towards this heaven."
Okay, but the author tells us what not to do. Don't follow our predecessors. But moving towards heaven is incredibly abstract.
It is very abstract.
How should you, the listener, interpret this radical departure from the norm? If I am listening to this on a Tuesday afternoon, looking at a spreadsheet, what does rejecting the predecessor's path actually look like in practice?
To ground that abstraction, we have to look at why the predecessor's map was drawn in the first place. The traditional milestones, marrying early, acquiring land, producing many children, those were survival mechanics for an agrarian high-mortality society.
Oh, I see.
That was the map required to simply keep the species alive.
So it made sense back then.
Right. But we took a map designed for historical survival and applied it to a modern digital economy. And we wonder why everyone is burning out.
Because we don't need to survive that way anymore.
Exactly. When Suifeng says heavenly life has already been born on this earth, it is a claim that peace and stability are accessible right now. But only if you stop using a centuries-old survival map to navigate a modern existence.
So it is not a physical utopia we have to travel to.
No.
It is an unburdened state of operation. It is realizing that the mandatory checklist is actually optional.
Yes. The mechanism of moving toward this heaven is the active, deliberate audit of your daily life.
Like taking a step back.
Right. It means scrutinizing your goals and asking, am I doing this because it actually serves my well-being, or am I doing this because it is the next step on the default script? The author is asking us to stop equating relentless striving with guaranteed salvation.
That brings us to the final, piercing challenge the author uses to close the essay. Suifeng asks, where are you directing your efforts at this very moment?
It's a demand for absolute honesty.
It really is.
Every decision you make is either compounding your burdens or untangling them.
Yeah.
Every hour of overtime, every social obligation you resent but attend anyway, every financial commitment that keeps you awake at night, these are not neutral events.
They are directional.
Exactly. Suifeng is forcing the reader to acknowledge that effort is a vector. It has magnitude, but more importantly, it has direction.
Let's pull the threads of this deep dive together, because the ground we have covered represents a total inversion of how most of us operate.
It really does.
We started with the specific cultural panic of a 39-year-old woman desperately advising young women to secure a marriage before time runs out.
Right, the viral video.
And that single video served as the catalyst for Swiffing's sweeping critique of societal norms. We explored the snowballing mechanics of domestic life.
The avalanche.
Yeah, looking at how the initial directional error of marriage creates an inescapable cage of material acquisition, extended family management, and eventual emotional scarring.
And from there, we mapped that same dynamic onto the broader world. We saw how the immense exertion required to secure a mortgage becomes the very anchor that drowns the homeowner.
It's just wild to think about it that way.
It is. We saw the irony of the fiercely industrious business person working themselves into bankruptcy, and the corrupt official whose own logistical brilliance engineered their destruction.
And it all culminates in a profound spiritual crisis for a younger generation taught to run on a track that no longer leads anywhere safe.
Yeah.
Swiffen leaves us with the assertion that peace is already here, but it requires the radical act of refusing to follow the footsteps of the people who came before us.
The historical perspective here is crucial. The author isn't just complaining about modern burnout. They are arguing that the human race has been running in the wrong direction for millennia, compiling tragedies and passing the flawed instructions down to the next generation.
So if you're listening to this on your commute, working a job you tolerate to pay a mortgage on a house that stresses you out, Shufang's essay is asking you a very uncomfortable question.
Very uncomfortable.
Are you currently sacrificing your present moment to win a game you don't even want to play?
Yeah.
Are you striving simply because the act of striving is all you were ever taught to do?
And the mechanism for escaping this is what makes the essay so provocative.
How so?
Well, if we accept the premise that striving in the wrong direction only accelerates your downfall, then the solution isn't to pivot and start running in a new direction.
It's not.
No, the solution requires a complete halt.
Which feels entirely unnatural. We are hardwired to fix problems by doing more.
Exactly why it is so necessary. Perhaps the ultimate rebellion in today's hyper-optimized, constantly moving world isn't about finding a better life hack or a more efficient way to hustle.
Right.
Perhaps the bravest, most productive thing you can do when you feel lost and burdened by expectations is to practice intentional stagnation.
Intentional stagnation.
It is the deliberate refusal to apply effort.
Just stopping.
Yes. When you realize the map is inverted, the most urgent priority is to stop moving. You stand completely still. You let the momentum die.
You just refuse to take another step on the treadmill.
Exactly. You refuse to send the email, refuse to agree to the societal milestone until you know exactly whose map you are reading.
Yeah.
You have to let the dust settle to see if the route you are on leads to a prison or to peace.
Intentional stagnation is the ultimate survival tool. What a concept to carry with you today. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. It is not an easy exercise to question the very foundation of your daily grind, but if Swiffing is right, it might be the only way to save yourself from your own hard work. Audit your map, question the direction of your efforts, and if you realize you are heading the wrong way, have the courage to just stop. Catch you on the next one.